Today's video is about the ability of different groups to mandate vaccines, something I've been asked about repeatedly. I'll cover whether private employers in Arizona can mandate vaccines of their employees. I'll also cover whether government employers can mandate vaccines for public employees. And finally, I'll talk about the ability of the state and federal governments to mandate vaccines generally. My name is Steve Cerbalic, and I'm a panel attorney with AsCops in Arizona. Before I get into the substance of the video, let me offer this disclaimer. I'm personally pro-vaccines. I received a flu shot this year. Besides this brief point, I'm not getting into the merits of vaccines generally or the COVID vaccine specifically. This video is only focusing on discussing the legal issues related to vaccines. So to start, employees of private non-government employers in Arizona are almost always at-will employees. This means that employers can set the working terms and conditions for their employees. So private employers almost certainly can mandate vaccination as a condition of employment. Next is government employers. This is where it starts to get trickier, particularly for peace officers that are covered under the Peace Officers' Bill of Rights, which states that officers can only face discipline, including termination, for just cause. I don't know of any cases applying the just cause standard to a mandatory vaccine program that didn't exist at the time of employment. So disciplining an officer who refuses to get vaccinated may not pass this test. Now, all of that said, if the vaccine doesn't have full approval, for example, if the vaccine is new and only has received emergency approval, this makes it far less likely that an employer, either public or private, would require a vaccine for its employees. This is because emergency-approved vaccines have been shown to be safe and effective in the short term, but there is simply insufficient data to show that they will not cause adverse effects in the medium or long term. If an employer forces an employee to receive a vaccine as a condition of employment, and that vaccine causes an injury, that employer may face liability in the form of workers' compensation issues or other theories of liability. I'd be surprised if employers were willing to take on this type of exposure based upon vaccines that were not fully approved by government regulators. Again, specifically, I'm referring to vaccines with emergency as opposed to full approval. Finally, there's this question of whether the federal or state or local governments can mandate vaccines. For the federal government, the answer is no. Neither the president nor other federal health officials can mandate vaccines for the general public. In theory, the government could regulate travel, particularly international travel, based upon whether someone is vaccinated, or maybe the federal government could limit entry into some federal facilities for someone who is not vaccinated. But besides these edge cases, there is no federal authority for general vaccination of the public. This is because health issues are generally viewed as state responsibilities, which brings us to whether the state can mandate vaccines for the general public. Here, the answer is probably yes. The U.S. Supreme Court in Jacobson versus Massachusetts in 1905 held that Massachusetts could fine residents who refused to receive a smallpox vaccine. The Supreme Court held that when the legislature determines that the welfare of the state is implicated, they can stop an imminent danger caused by an infectious disease by mandating vaccinations. That said, here in Arizona specifically, there is no general mandatory vaccine law. The vaccine laws that we have are focused on vaccines required for kids to go to school, but they allow for religious and moral exemptions, and the state legislature doesn't seem inclined to mandate vaccines, particularly vaccines that have emergency as opposed to full approval. All of this to say, it's unlikely that government employees in Arizona will be subject to either getting vaccinated or losing their jobs. And any vaccine program will likely allow exceptions for moral, religious, or health reasons. But there is one other thing that employees should keep in mind. There is nothing that stops an employer from limiting duties or assignments based upon something like vaccine status. Employers, including police employers, could theoretically limit job duties or assignments for those that refuse to be vaccinated. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. Please like the video so that YouTube shows it to more people like you. And please subscribe for more law enforcement lessons. Videos come out every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Arizona time. I'm Steve Cerbalic. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.